Hello, we're talking about Unit 5 now in BUSN 1440. Unit 5 is talking about thinking and composing at the keyboard. Now, okay, we know what thinking is, but what is composing? Thinking, hopefully we all do thinking every day, a lot of times during the day. Composing, though, well, unless you write novels, unless you write music, you probably haven't done a whole lot of composing since probably elementary school when you had to write a short essay, or high school when you had to write a short essay. But when you're sitting at the keyboard typing and your instructor wants you to write, or your boss wants you to write up what happened in a series of events, or to write up a story of what you did on summer vacation, you have to compose, and thinking is part of composing. And as you can see here on the screen, you have from the Merriam-Webster Dictionary website the definition of compose. And it can be different parts of speech. A transitive verb means to form something by putting together, like compose some fashion styles, or to form the substance of, like to constitute a recipe. The recipe is composed of many ingredients. Or to produce like columns or pages or stories by typing, which is called a composition. And when I was in grammar school, we didn't have essays, we had compositions. So that's where essay comes from. It's putting together words into an organized story. Going down here to the second definition, to create by mental or artistic labor. Yeah, you have to do this mentally. It comes out of your head, and you're producing some kind of a composition or essay or list of responses to questions that come out of your head. You're not copying them from a book. The second part of that same definition is to formulate and write, for example, a piece of music. But again, it can be a typing paper. It can be some sort of assignment that you sit at the computer keyboard and create just from the thoughts in your head. Sometimes it's always good to jot down your ideas and organize them into either a sequential or chronological order so that the story or the essay or the composition makes sense at the end. But it all takes power from your brain. It all takes energy and activity from your brain to compose any type of writing or typed up document that you can do at the computer. I looked at YouTube and I looked at Google, and there really isn't a whole lot of help on composing at the keyboard. There has been some research done on composing, both on college students and on younger students. Let's look at that one little blurb here for a minute. It says other research in composing has identified additional aspects of the act of composing. For example, some researchers have described the composing process as consisting of three stages: conception, which is the idea that you've been given that you need to write about; incubation, which is the time you think about what you're going to write; and production. Ta-da, you've written it. So it says researchers have different opinions about what stages should be included in the act of composing, but basically this is it. You are given an idea, or you think of an idea. You think about what it is that you want to let people know about your idea, and then you produce that on paper, whether it's handwritten or typed. And then again, here some more research says some researchers have made composing models which have described writing as a recursive activity. Recursive means we just do it over and over and over again throughout our lives. It's like recurring. The word recurring is similar to that. One researcher is Pearl. Initial is S. Pearl. I don't know if this is male or female. Back in 1980, who wrote that composing is a recursive process which varies cyclically from one writer to another. It means when you're 10 years old, and when you're 16 years old, and when you're 30 years old, you're still doing this, but your your brain has taken on a different pattern of doing it. You're still doing the conceptions and you're still working through the incubation and you're still producing your work, but your brain has matured, your ideas have matured, your work ethic has matured. So you do things differently as you change age. Pearl, the researcher Pearl, arrived at this conclusion after a lot of looking at kids or college students who were writing. The recurring behaviors that they used were noted in their rereading after a sentence had been written. So they wrote a sentence and then they looked over it and they reread it to see if that's really actually what they meant to say, or could they say it a little bit differently or better. After continued reflection upon the topic, non-verbalized perceptions and pauses, the writers reached to their inner feelings for content and structure. And that's where our compositions come from, our inner feelings, our inner thoughts, the secrets that we have in our head that we really never tell anybody. They're not taboo secrets. They're just the way we think and the things we think about. And sometimes it's easier to put them on paper than it is to talk about them. So researchers have taken on composition. We have sat at computers and composed documents or lists or anything else that people would probably want to read at some point in their lives. And that's what Unit 5 is about. It's about you sitting at a keyboard at a computer being given questions to answer and write down or type the answers or give thoughts, the beginning of thoughts, and then you need to finish that thought. But it's on the keyboard. It's not on a piece of paper using a pen or a pencil. So let's look at lesson 28 in the next video at some of the exercises and see what happens in your composing at the keyboard process.